2026 might actually go down as one of the most important years in tech. Not because of a new iPhone or a new console, but because two giants in the industry, Apple and Xbox, decided to change their leadership around the same time. For years now, most tech companies have been playing it safe. They've been pushing subscriptions, small upgrades, and trying to squeeze in more value out of existing products, instead of actually creating something genuinely new. But 2026 feels different. The industry is slowly realizing that people want real value again, and both Apple and Xbox are now reacting to that shift, just in very different ways. So let's start with Apple. Tim Cook took over back in 2011, and honestly, he did an incredible job. He turned Apple into a $4 trillion company. But now he's stepping aside, and the person replacing him is John Ternus, someone who's been at Apple for over 2 decades, and more importantly, he's an engineer. And that detail actually matters a lot, because if you zoom out, Apple has gone through three distinct phases. Firstly, Steve Jobs, the visionary, the guy who created entirely new product categories. Then came Tim Cook, the operator. He scaled everything, optimized the business, and built the supply chain we know today. And now, John Ternus, the builder, which suggests Apple is trying to shift again from optimizing what already exists to building what comes next. And you can already see hints of that. Apple is starting to refocus on hardware more ambitiously. Not just incremental updates each year, but products that actually feel exciting again. We're talking about things like foldable devices, new MacBooks at more accessible prices, like the new MacBook Neo, even rethinking how iPads and laptops work together, parallelly also working confidently on Apple Intelligence. It almost feels like Apple is trying to bring back that old energy, where every launch felt like a big deal. But what's really interesting is how Apple is approaching AI. Because while every other company is shouting about it, Apple is doing the opposite. Their strategy is to make AI invisible. It runs locally on your device, it protects your privacy, and it just quietly improves everything in the background. You're not supposed to interact with AI, you're just supposed to benefit from it. So instead of flashy features, you get small but meaningful improvements. Siri becomes smarter, apps understand context, things just work better. From a long-term Samsung user myself, these developments honestly make me want to try the iOS ecosystem. It's subtle, but that's the whole point. Apple wants the experience to feel seamless, not overwhelming. Now, compare that to Xbox, because their situation is very different. When Asha Sharma stepped in as CEO, she didn't inherit a stable company at all. Honestly, she walked into a mess, and her first statement basically summed it up. The business is broken. So, naturally, the first step is fixing the basics. Xbox started adjusting Game Pass pricing, making subscriptions more flexible, and trying to give players actual value again, similar to how Steam is known for having unbeatable deals and offers on games and softwares. Because right now, it's not about growing fast, it's about stabilizing. Honestly, the bigger problem was not just financial, it was identity. At some point, Xbox stopped feeling like Xbox. So the new leadership basically reversed the course. They brought back the classic branding, the familiar look, even the nostalgic feel we all know and love. As a gamer myself, who vividly remembers playing Kinect Sports and Minecraft on an Xbox 360 over a decade ago with my friends, I believe that for a gaming brand, emotional connection matters way more than people think. And they made an even more interesting move. Instead of locking players into the Xbox ecosystem, they're opening it up. You can now play across devices, even access competing platforms more easily. This is a huge shift from the traditional console wars mindset with PlayStation and Nintendo. But here's probably the most surprising part. An AI focused leader is actively removing AI from the Xbox experience, for which she has gotten immense praise from the community. No chatbots, no forced AI features, because their belief is simple: games are art, and that should stay human. So, now you've got this really interesting contrast. Apple is using AI everywhere but hiding it, and Xbox is basically saying keep it out of the player experience entirely. Same technology, completely different philosophies. And when you zoom out, this reflects something bigger happening across the industry. People don't just want more features anymore. They want better products, better pricing, and smarter implementations of things like AI, of course, while keeping it ethical and responsible. And the companies that win the next decade won't be the ones that make the most noise. They'll be the ones that actually build things people care about and sincerely listen to their community base. So, which company do you think will come out on top in the next decade? Let me know in the comments.